Tamamonomae is a nine-tailed demon fox. Turned into an absolute beauty, she appears exclusively in the palace and takes pleasure in seducing the king. Not only did she destroy the king's body, but she also harmed the whole country. This is why she is considered to be a scourge of the country and the people. In the East, there have been numerous legends about the fox demon from ancient times to the present day. It seems to have appeared in India at the earliest. Later, it spread to China, where it took the form of Meixi during the reign of Zhiyi. In China, it took the form of Meishi during the Heian Period, Douji during the reign of King Qian of Shang Dynasty, and then Tamamonomae in Japan. As a result, some young, beautiful, and attractive women in life were also often called the temptress. Tamamonomae's first name was Mamoru Zanyu, and she was adopted by the samurai couple Sakuten Kid, and she gradually became a beautiful woman. At the age of 18, she was appointed to the palace and became an official of Emperor Shotoku. She was as beautiful as a flower, as gentle as jade, and as skilled in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting. Because of her extensive knowledge and beauty, she was known as the most beautiful woman in the world and the most talented woman in Japan. She became the consort of Emperor Shotoku, and because of her stunning beauty, her ability to sing and dance, she was well treated by the emperor. She was honored as a virtuous concubine who radiated light from within her body. In the first year of his reign, the emperor gave her the name Tamamonomae. She became the most favored concubine in the palace and was loved by all the 3,000 concubines in the harem. As time passed, Tamamonomae became more and more powerful. Thanks to the emperor's favor and love, legend has it that Tamamonomae used the seductive powers of a fox demon to lure the emperor into having fun with her. She was distracted from the government and sucked the essence of the emperor, causing him to become more and more emaciated. The imperial physicians were unable to find out the cause of the illness, gradually roused the suspicion and indignation of the ministers. So they invited Abe Taisei, a yin-yang master at that time, to find out the truth and get rid of the evil spirits. After Abe's divination, he discovers the real body of Tamamonomae and learns that she was a white-faced, golden-furred, nine-tailed fox demon. Abe then performs a demonic exorcism to bring Tamamonomae back to her original form. After the revelation of the incident, Tamamonomae fled from the capital and hid in Nasu-no. Since then, women and children have been disappearing in Nasu-no at the request of the Lord of Nasu-no, Sudo Kenshimori Sadanobu. Emperor Shotoku sent an army to attack the phenomenon. He ordered Miura Suk Yoshiaki, Chiba Suksunian, Kamisho Suk Hiratsugu, and Abe Yasunari to lead an army of 80,000 men to the battlefield. When they arrived at Nasu-no, the army was immediately attacked by a nine-tailed fox with a white face and golden fur. It is Tamamonomae. Her powerful sorcery inflicts heavy losses on the army, and they are defeated. Miura and Kamisuke ordered their soldiers to bring their dogs to practice the canine ride and shoot, a Japanese archery technique. This time, the strategy was so successful that the army pursued Tamamonomae. As a result, Tamamonomae took on the form of his mother. In the dreams of Sadanobu, she begs for her release. However, he realizes that she is at the end of her tether and attacks her with all her might. So he attacks with all his might. In the end, Miura Suke's two arrows hit Tamamonomae in the stomach, while Kamisuke slashes her with a long knife. Kamisuke cuts off her head with his long sword, and Tamamonomae dies. After Tamamonomae's death, her body turned into a huge poisonous rock. The poisonous gas emitted by the body killed many animals in the neighborhood. It became known as the killing stone. The poisonous fumes from the stone did not dissipate. Even after Emperor Shotoku's death, the people around the area were so scared that They invited monks to perform exorcisms, but they were all harmed by the poisonous gas, until a monk called Gino to perform the exorcism successfully to finish this mess. In fact, as a traditional Japanese demon, the foxes are also worshipped as being imbued with the spirit of immortality. Legend has it that many people who see a fox will immediately put their hands together and close their eyes in prayer, and many people do not even have a table dedicated to foxes in their homes. Because the fox is psychic, it has a very high status among the 100 demons. As one of the few top demons, it is also very dangerous. Regarding the fox, many people have a traditional misconception that it is a fox. That is, they think that it is a fox that has changed into a demon. In fact, the fox was originally a mountain god and the god of agriculture, but it later merged with the souls of some animals and became the form of a demonic beast, although they still intermarried with men as beautiful women. Most of them were really in love with the foxes. However, most of them are really in love with this man. She is gentle and virtuous, and does not hate the poor and love the rich. She was even far more kind than ordinary women. Her name also changed from fox demon to fox fairy.
Tamamonomae.
The body of the Shitendouji was extremely robust, 6 meters tall, with a thick back and wide waist. He had a red face, and the top of his head was nearly bald, with only a few handfuls of messy short hair. He had 5 horns on his head, and was said to have 15 eyes. He wore a tunic of plaid fabric, and the skin of a wild beast was tied round his waist. This should be its image as an evil spirit. When doing harm in the human world, Shitendouji often takes the form of a handsome young man, so he is also regarded as the most handsome of all. Therefore, it is also regarded as one of the most handsome demons. The Shitendouji of Toriyama Ishiin, although huge in size and furious in appearance, but it had the appearance of a boy. However, the demon lying honestly in front of him shows his strength as the leader of the group of demons. The best trick of Shitendouji is to turn into a handsome boy, to seduce women, and then eat them. When he succeeds in doing so, he eats their flesh and drinks all their blood. For those women who were particularly good-looking, they were kept as slaves in the lair of the mountain fortress. Most of the murdered women were young virgins. Therefore, he was also known as the Virgin Killer. Later, it plundered the daughter of Nyan Ikeda and made General Minamoto Yorimitsu lead the army known as the 4 heavenly kings of Yorimitsu: Watanabe Suna, Sakata Kintoki, Bubun Nomotek, Masari Sedamitsu, and the warrior Fujiwara Yasumasa went to conquer. The story goes that after visiting the shrines of Kumano, Sumiyoshi, and Hitotsubater, the 6 Yorimitsu men set out on a quest to get rid of Shitendouji. On their way, they encountered Ibaraki Doji, who was sent by Shitendouji to harm them. However, Watanabe Suna cut off his hand with his sword. When the 6 of them reached the foot of Mount O, they met 3 old men in a cave. They claimed to be from the districts Nyertsu, Keikoku, and Kyoshi, and had come to avenge the deaths of their wives and children by the gang of Shitendouji. When they heard that Minamoto Yorimitsu and his gang were the ones who had come to kill Shitendouji, so they took out the poisonous wine of the gods and ghosts and the star doodle armor and gave it to Minamoto Yorimitsu and the others, saying that this wine was good for ordinary people. He said that the wine would be fine for ordinary people to drink, but for ghosts and monsters, it was extremely poisonous, and they would faint immediately after drinking it. The 3 old men then told them the exact location of the Shitendouji. After that, the old men walked out of the cave and disappeared into green smoke. It turned out that they were the gods of Kumano, Sumiyoshi, and Hakumen. They were the gods of Kumano, Sumiyoshi, and Hakumen, who had appeared here to help them. When Yorimitsu and the others arrived at the magnificent palace of Shitendouji, they said that they had lost their way in the mountains and had come to stay here. They offered sacred wine to the host as a token of appreciation. After drinking the poisonous wine of the gods and ghosts, Shitendouji and his men all fell asleep and transformed into a demon. Seeing that the time had come, Yorimitsu and the others quickly put on their equipment and killed all the sleeping demons. As for Shitendouji, they tied him to the bed, and the four of them chopped off its limbs, and Yorimitsu chopped off its head. At the moment when the head was chopped off, Shitendouji suddenly woke up, and its head, which had already left its body, danced wildly in the air. Yorimitsu took out the star-doodle armor given by the three deities before was used to block the head of Shitendouji. He quickly wrapped up the head. In this way, the clan of Shitendouji was successfully annihilated. They then rescued a number of abducted women and children from their lair. After this, General Minamoto Yorimitsu and Watanabe Suna became famous.
Shitendouji.
Suiko came from China, but after being introduced to Japan, it became a demon with a similar appearance to the Kappa, but with a stronger body and a more ferocious character. Its whole body is covered with hard scales, which are hard to penetrate even by arrows, and its knees are covered with sharp claws like the claws of a tiger. Therefore, it's good at climbing. The most frightening thing about the water tiger is that it can understand the words of fish, birds, and people. It can be invisible at will, also attacks humans, dragging children, playing in the water to the bottom of the river to kill them. Then it eats human souls and throws the bodies away. There are also rumors that it knocks on the doors of villages at dawn to cause havoc. Suiko is probably the largest of all the Kappas, and it is very difficult for humans to see it. It is said that the Suiko live in the sea or in rivers. It lures people into the water, sucks out their blood, and then drags the body back to its original place. This happens once a year. Those who are killed by Suiko, instead of buried, they build a simple straw hut in the field. The bodies are put directly on the boards and placed inside the hut. While the body is decomposing, the Suiko that had sucked the blood of the man would also rot and die. While the body was rotting, the Suiko would move around the hut. However, it cannot be seen, only heard. This is because Suiko knows the art of invisibility and will not appear before it dies. As the body begins to decompose, Suiko will fall to the ground and die. By then, Suiko will appear in its original form. Suiko is found in Kyushu along the Tsukugo River and Lake Biwa in Shiga Prefecture. It is known to knock on doors and make trouble late at night, or attach itself to people. How can you protect yourself against Suikos? It is said that hanging a sickle at the door is enough. Another way is to sprinkle some ham shells or cowpeas outside the house. Then Suiko will not come.
Suiko.
Ushino Tokumari is also known as the Lady of the Ushi. The Lady of the Ushi is a spirit in Japanese legend. She is the spirit of a woman who was filled with jealousy and hatred. This woman was abandoned after losing her virginity and died with a grudge and became a powerful ghost. The common conception of a ghost is that it is usually translucent, or usually they are translucent or covered with white mist. However, the mighty spirit has a reddish light. At the time of the Ushi 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., the woman of the Ushi will call a straw man. The lady of the Ushi will nail a scarecrow to the shrine's omikoshi tree. This is a curse that has been passed down in Japan since ancient times. She is usually wear an iron ring with 3 candles on top of her head if the act of nailing a scarecrow is carried out for 7 consecutive days. The cursed person will die, and if the act is observed, the spell will fail. In the picture of Toriyama Shion, her physical features are perfectly represented. She has 3 candles on her head, clogs with high soles, and a hammer in her hand. The sleeping cow beside her symbolizes the Ushi hour. Ushinoto Kamari originally referred to a form of witchcraft in which a person was cursed. The person who casts the spell goes to a shrine to visit a statue of Buddha at the hour of Ushi 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. A scarecrow, the double of the cursed person, was then nailed to an old tree nearby. The scarecrow is filled with hair, nails, or dander from the victim of the curse. Usually the cursor is dressed in white with a mirror on his chest and wearing clogs with a single tooth or bare feet. The head of the cursor wears a 3-legged iron frame with a water or wooden basin on top, a water or wooden basin with 3 lighted candles on it. In her hand, she holds a hammer and 5-inch nails. When the wish is fulfilled on the 7th day, the cursed person's body will experience severe pain until death. It is said that Ushinoto Kamari comes from the folklore of praying to the gods. At Kofun Shrine in Kyoto, the god arrives at the Ushi hour of the day, the Ushi day of the month, the Ushi month of the year, and on the Ushi year. If one prays at this time, one's wish will come true. But this behavior has gradually become a curse. Shrines are supposed to be places where people's wishes come true. The gods will not accept such harmful prayers, but because of the deep hatred of the spellcaster, people are eventually attacked by the evil spirit of this hatred. Even the caster himself will be affected. As the saying goes, cursing a person before cursing him, digging a grave in 2 places. The caster has already lost his heart when he casts the spell. Ushinoto Kamari is one such demon with a lot of anger, but she can't be seen when she's cursing. Otherwise, not only will the curse be less effective, more importantly, the curse will backfire on her. But according to the tales of terror, Ushinoto Kamari is not alone. Sometimes the child appears beside her, a mother and child ghost or parent-child ghost, even though she is a powerful ghost that people avoid. But her spells are far less scary than her curses. There is a saying that if a person wants to open his eyes to see ghosts, he can go to the forest at 2 o'clock in the middle of the night when there's no moonlight and snatch the nails from her hands, which she was about to nail the little man with. Nail her hands to the tree with those nails. Then put her blood on your eyes. When you open your eyes, and you can see the spectacle of 100 ghosts walking in the night. Of course, it's only a rumor, but no one has ever done it. After all, it takes a lot of courage to do it. Ushinoto Kamari was very popular in the Edo period. This spell was called a curse or karmic mediation, and it was performed by manipulating one's own grudges karma. By manipulating one's own grudges, or the spirit of a god or a ghost, the person to be cursed will die. The person who casts the curse is also cursed, both physically and mentally. As the proverb says, if you want to curse someone, you have to dig 2 holes.
推しの時参り